Hey, brother! Ben, we are just weeks away from Pixar's newest original film, Coco. And new Pixar movies are always something worth celebrating here at Super Carlin Brothers because it means, one, we get to add to the Pixar theory, and two, we get to go on a very fun Easter egg hunt. And as ever, we want everyone to be on the lookout with us for said Easter egg, so today, we're running down our top 10 things to look for in Coco. Numbers 10 through 8, A113, the Pizza Planet truck, and the Luxo ball. Yes, these three are the bread and butter of the Pixar Easter eggs, appearing in almost every single Pixar movie. The Pizza Planet truck made its first appearance in Toy Story and has appeared in every single movie except The Incredibles. Actually, it's just the yellow truck. I promise. A113, while not a Pixar-specific Easter egg, is one they use a lot. The number is the classroom number where many of Pixar's animators first studied animation at the California Institute of the Arts. And the Luxo ball was spawned by John Lasseter's classic short, Luxo Jr., which also spawned the lamp jumping on the eye in the logo. All three of these were easily spotted in Cars 3. The Pizza Planet truck, or Todd, as he's known in the Cars movies, was a competitor in the Demolition Derby. A113 was on Sterling's office doors, and the Luxo ball was painted on the hood of another of the Demolition Derby competitors. Number 7. Something from The Incredibles 2. It is a long-running tradition in Pixar movies to include an Easter egg for the next upcoming film in the current film. And these are always some of my favorites because it means after the current movie comes out, we can go back and watch the last one to see if we can spot whatever the Easter egg was that was for the new one. And in the case of Coco, the Easter egg in Cars 3 was pretty subtle. Let me know if you can spot it right here. So who knows, maybe the Incredibles 2 Easter egg will be super obvious in Coco. My guess is that it'll be something luchador related. So if you see any like masks or costumes, look for a red one with the eye on it. Although I do suppose it is worth mentioning that Incredibles 2 was only recently the next film. It was originally going to be Toy Story 4 before they swapped the two. So they might have been deep enough into production for Coco that it could be a Toy Story 4 Easter egg instead. Number 6, skeleton characters from other Pixar movies. Oh, you just know these are going to be in there. They are not going to be able to help themselves putting skeleton versions of other Pixar characters into this movie. But the question is who? Because it wouldn't really make sense for them to make like living versions of the characters. The characters would need to already be dead. So my best guesses, or even hopes, are number 1, Gazer Beam. Yeah, we already said there's going to be an Incredibles reference, and we've seen him as a skeleton already, so why not? Number 2, the fourth brother from Brave. He is literally the only other character in Pixar who we have seen an undead form of at all. So it wouldn't surprise me, and it would even make sense for him to show up. Although that was Scottish culture, and this is Mexican, so who knows, maybe in Pixar your culture dictates what kind of afterlife you have. And 3, and this is the one I just absolutely so hope they do, Ellie. Oh, I mean, they just have to do this. It would be so great to see Ellie again, but then I guess like, oh, what if Carl was there too? Would that mean they like got back together? That'd be so happy, but then what about Russell? Who's watching Russell? Ugh, this movie's gonna make me cry, isn't it? Of course it is. It's about dead people. How is it not gonna make you cry? It's Pixar. How haven't I been preparing for this? I let them suck me in with their happy trailers again. I'm on to you, Pixar. I know that even though characters are already dead, you're still gonna make them die. Number 5, LaBrie Haze. If you're looking for inspiration for a tattoo, look up these things. We made an entire video about these awesome, crazy looking little Mexican sculptures, and they appear to be all over the place in Coco. Whether as actual little sculpture or as living, dead creatures in the land of the dead. And while I'm sure they're going to be very hard to miss, I say be on the lookout, meaning they are going to be a great way to hide little Easter eggs of any other non-human Pixar character. Case in point, in Dante's lunch, you can already spot a little Nemo a LaBrie Haze. So I am totally betting there is going to be more in the actual movie. Maybe a Kevin? I mean, she already kind of looks like one to begin with. Number 4, John Ratzenberger. Ratzenberger. Ah, Pixar's good luck charm. John Ratzenberger, if you don't know, has voiced a character in every single Pixar movie so far. In Cars 3, he was pretty easy to spot, having voiced the same character in Cars 1 and 2. He's Mac. Before Cars, though, they were getting very tricky with him. In Finding Dory, they raised the pitch of his voice so you could only kind of tell he was the crab.
Being shipped out on a truck at the crack of dawn.
And in The Good Dinosaur, he had a single line screaming as Earl the Raptor. It was almost impossible to tell it was him.
Kill him!
So, be on the very careful lookout for this voice because I'm betting it just barely appears. Number 3, the guitar picking animation. Every Pixar movie has its own signature hardest thing to animate. In Finding Dory, it was Hank. In Cars 3, it was the mud. Ah, the oh so glorious mud. Some of it half dried, some of it still wet, all acting as one and yet each part being its own individual problem. Glorious. In Coco, this is the picking of the guitars. Anytime you see a note played, it is rhythmically and technically accurate. To accomplish this, they recorded people playing guitars from almost every conceivable angle to give animators every little vantage point they might need to get this right. Let me just go ahead and give a round of applause to whoever's job this was, though, because my goodness, it does not look easy. Number 2, Dante. Just Dante in general. This is just more impressive animation to be aware of. Dante is a Jolo dog, which is short for the hardest word to pronounce ever. Jolo Zecuntil? Jolo Zecuntil. Jolo, I have no idea.
Sholowitzquintly, or Sholo.
Yeah, sure, if you say so. Now, you wouldn't think a dog, of all things, would be too tricky for Pixar to animate at this point, having created so many crazy-looking creatures and, dogs over the years. Sully, for example, was particularly difficult to animate because of his 2.3 million individual hairs, but Dante is different yet. See, because he's a hairless dog, they didn't get to use fur to cover up any of the animation imperfections. So instead, they made his model a high-definition model so they could really focus on all of the details. And there are a lot of details, like, for example, his tongue. We mentioned earlier that Hank was really difficult to animate in Finding Dory, and they actually used the same rig they used for Hank's tentacles to do Dante's tongue, which kind of acts as a character on its own. And since Dante starts out as a stray dog, they wanted to make sure that he looked a little emaciated, meaning not only could they not put fur on him, but they also had to make sure his ribs were constantly visible. And number 1, dead Mexican celebrities. Coco is steeped in Mexican history. In fact, Pixar has described the movie as a love letter to Mexico. So naturally, they wanted to pay homage to a lot of the artistic inspiration they got for the movie. So in the Land of the Dead, there will be at least 4 skeletons who represent dead Mexican celebrities. First is Kenshin Floss, also known as Mario Fortino Alfonso Moreno Reyes. Man, Mexican people just have the best names. Why would you shorten that to Kenshin Floss? Actually, he chose that name specifically so that his parents wouldn't know that he was in the entertainment industry, which he thought they would think was a shameful occupation, which sounds honestly a lot like Miguel in Coco. And while Kenshin Floss was the character he played, the personality became so enmeshed with his real-life persona that that's just what he started to become known as. In any case, Kenshin Floss was an extremely famous Mexican actor in the golden age of Mexican cinema. To give you an idea of his influence, he's often referred to as the Charlie Chaplin of Mexican cinema. Although interestingly, Chaplin himself referred to Kenshin Floss as the greatest comedian alive. Not sure how he'll be presented in the movie, but Kenshin Floss was often a poor farmer or a bum, but he could also appear as a policeman, Agent 777, another famous role he once took. Next is Pedro Infante and Jorge Negrete. Apologies to everyone for my horrible pronunciations. These two are considered the 2 greatest singers to ever come out of Mexico, so it makes sense that they would be in Coco. Both were also actors, and while the public considered them rivals, they were actually great friends. Negrete actually succeeded Cantinflas as the chairman of the Mexican Actors Association after he died. Honestly, the two seem to be like the real-life versions of Ernesto de la Cruz, Miguel's idol in the movie, so whenever we meet him, I would also expect to see these two nearby. And finally, we have Frida Kahlo. Kahlo, for most of her life, was famous for being the wife of fellow famous Mexican artist Diego Rivera. But since her death, her art has been rediscovered, and she has since become an icon for feminism and the LGBTQ movement. Most of her art are self-portraits, but often include a certain amount of magic or surrealism. And one of her paintings was actually the first piece of Mexican art to ever be displayed at the Louvre. Her role in the movie looks to be a smidge bigger than the others. She'll be voiced by Natalia Cordova Buckley, and her appearance will of course be based on the artwork of the real-life Frida Kahlo. And there you go, those are the top 10 Easter eggs or things to be aware of when watching Coco. Ben, my question for you and everybody else is, what other Easter eggs do you hope to see in the movie? And don't forget, after you see it, to come back to this video and let us know what other ones you found. And finally, how many times did Baby Dory move in this video? Let me know in the towel section down below. These socks are amazing! Guys, thanks for watching this video. As always, please remember to leave a like if you haven't already, and subscribe so you don't miss any future Pixar action from us. If you want to learn more about Pepita, the crazy new monster looking thing in Coco, you can check out this video right here. Or if you want to check out the new daily vlog that I launched last week, you can check out this channel right here. 2 videos currently up. Enjoy. But Ben, that's all I've got for you today, man. I will see you in another life, brother.